Devin, you got a big gig coming up.
I do.
What is this about?
Well, the last time I played or wrote or put out new music was probably about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And so lately I've been working with a lot of different people, a lot of different projects, and my own project. And I was recently inspired just by some recent events. We can go, we can get into that or whatever. But,
No. What inspired you?
Well, one thing that I noticed, I come from a religious family, but I'm not very religious religious myself. Is that I really found music of faith very interesting, and not only the music itself, but the response and the effect that it had over the people who listened to it and who embraced it. And so as I started, and of course I'm African American, I'm from the South, so I had a lot of exposure at a young age to gospel music and a lot of African American gospel music and things like that. But I also recently gained a lot of interest in other religions, in their music and how it affects the people and how it moves them. So what I did over the past several months is that I went to several different churches, different religious religious services. I did a lot of research on the internet. I watched a lot of footage from the early 1900s all the way up until now. And what I found was that religions that are churches that involve music in their service, which most do, that it took the congregation and the people and it moved them. It lifted them up. It supported them. It helped them through hard times, and it helped them to celebrate good times. And so throughout that, studying all these different religions, whereas technically maybe some of these religions don't necessarily agree with each other. Some religions are very exclusive, but it just kept grabbing me that this music at its highest level move these people to a certain extent. And so what I really wanted to do, the root or the foundation of this project, is what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the intent of my music, not so much the music itself, but the music's intent, and I wanted to supply that, I wanted to provide that to people. I see people from gospel churches to these mega churches to even religions that aren't Western whatsoever. And I see all this music that moves these people, but sometimes the music, it gets lost or it never gets to be appreciated because it's from this religion, or it's from this, or it's from that. And at the essence, I think that it's all very similar. And sometimes us as people, we deny ourselves just because of all these technical things. So the more I dove into this music, the more I researched it, I started to find a similarity between all of it, no matter what country it was from, no matter what religion it was from. This music, it lifted people up. It made them aware of themselves.
That was the common thread?
Exactly.
Yeah. Even though they sounded different?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more the effect that it has on the people. And so that was my intent in writing this music, because the music, like I said, I've checked out all these different ethnicities, all these different religions, and it's a common thing that this music, it moves people and it lifts people up. And we all know that jazz comes from the blues, which comes from well, a large part of it is from African American culture and even African culture.
Yes.
But a lot of times, and that's part of the reason why I call the pieces modern revival. Because a lot of times in the jazz idiom, I think we've gotten away from that aspect of it. I think a lot of our music is more focused on technical feats or mathematical feats or things like that, instead of what the music was originally meant for, which was meant to lift the human spirit, which was to make us conscious of what's going on, make us thankful for the lives that we have. And so that's my intent with this music. My intent is to provide a sort of spiritual uplifting, but it has no denomination, it has no religious affiliation or anything like that, but it involves the human spirit and lifting the human spirit.
A lot of people have a really simplistic idea of where jazz came from, and that they don't really realize that when people came off the plantation and they came into New Orleans, they brought their African religious tradition with them, along with the church, and they fused those, and bang, jazz came out of that.
Yeah, jazz and blues.
Yeah.
I think, and it's not to say that this isn't an exclusive music, and it's not to say that it is exclusive, because once those people did come off of plantations or gain freedom or more rights, then their music, these same people who had no rights, or these same people that were oppressed during their oppression or during their lives, they were exposed to Western music.
Yeah. And that's where you get the sadness and the joy of the blues.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So what does your music sound like? Can we compare it to anything?
Well, you know, when you call something spiritual music, or
Somebody's going to peg it.
yeah, they'll peg, but I really it's 4 originals, and it's about three arrangements of American spirituals, different religious songs. But I can't really. I think all the songs themselves, they can stand independently, you know, and I think they're valid pieces that way. But you will hear an influence, of course, through my life experience from the Black church. Yeah. You will hear an influence from people like, of course, John Coltrane and Alice Coltrane and different people like that. But I almost don't want to give someone an expectation of what it will be.
Well, let's leave it a mystery.
Well, maybe
That's
a mystery,
good.
but you know,
Good.
a lot of the music, and I'm saying what the intent of the music is. But with that being said, I love music in a setting where it's open to the listener's interpretation. So this is a spiritual music, you know, but at the same time, it's a spiritual music. It's also a joyful music. It's also a sexy music. It's also it's different type of things. The main thing we're trying to do is be thankful and celebrate life, life in general.
Yeah. Who's in the band?
Well, for this premiere, it's going to be myself. It's going to be a good friend of mine, Eric Gruber. We've played together for many years now, and Chris Brown. And currently we don't have a pianist. At the time where I was working on this music, as I was working on the music, I realized the connection that it had with the church and with spiritual music, and so I did quite a bit of thinking, and I've been working with Janice for about 2 months.
Well, your thoughts would have to go right to her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I went to the source.
She personified it.
Exactly.
She lived it. That was her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just so happened to be working with her. She was doing a CD she was working on her CD, and we got to work together for the past couple of months on that. And I told her what I was working on, you know, and of course she was excited to do it. I was excited to have her, you know, and so she was going to do the gig with us, but unfortunately she passed away. But with that being said, I'm glad that I got a chance to know her like I did, and her stamp will be on this performance, you know.
Well, you can't replace Janice Scroggins. You just can't. So, are you going to have keyboards or not? You don't know yet?
Yeah, we'll have keyboards. I haven't really found a sub yet, but I will. I'm still we were still working on some of the music, so I'm still finishing a few touches up or whatever. And it's strange because when I'm working on it, I see there's her pencil writing on it, you know. But it's a good thing. I like looking at it. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, we'll have a keyboardist. Everybody has a suggestion or whatever, but I think I'm not sure. Maybe we'll leave the bench open for a little while, maybe just in her honor or something like that.
Well, maybe she'll be in a room.
She will be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're all looking forward to it.
Me too.
Good luck.
Me too.